interesting place to work in and be in. I'm also in the energy sector, so I'm really looking forward to your story. And I would like to say, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. I saw a lot of links in this story with what I'm doing. For me, it's a little bit more specific, one thing, but there were a lot of links. For example, the 10 years that you mentioned in your last comment, the 10 year will come back in this presentation. But maybe first start who I am. I started my career in the medical device industry, completely different than what I do now. I worked there for probably 30 years. That was also the industry that brought me to New Zealand 11 years ago. Fisher & Paykel Healthcare. Most of you know that company brought me here. But probably 2.5 years ago, I decided to do something else with life. While medical device industry was great to work in, I thought I'd do something else. And that whole sustainability, but more the business side of that really attracted me. And I had the opportunity to buy this company, Solar Group. So I started with that just after the first lockdown 2 years ago. And the company was already existing. It was founded in '86. So it was already an established company, but I had the opportunity to take it over and to manage it. And yeah, from there it goes. In that whole investigation of buying that company, I ran into a company that is called Rethink X. Also Tony Seba, if you remember that name, just look for it on YouTube or go to that site, rethinkx.com. They have a lot of really good assessments, investigation stories on what is going to happen in the next 10 years. And this is one thing that they say. So there will be a lot of disruptive technology coming in that is really changing a lot of stuff that we are doing at this moment. 3 examples, and these 3 examples they say will slash 90% of the carbon emission already by 2035, and we go to 0 by 2040. These 3 things are, of course, solar, batteries, and wind energy. But it's also the whole transportation. It's not only EVs, it's also self-driving EVs. If you think of how many cars there are and how many cars are not doing anything during the day, it's really strange. 97% of cars are just standing still. If we change that and we have a kind of Uber service that is just, hey, I want to go this time to that spot, you call on self-driving Uber service and that car comes to you and you drive it. That's one thing that he's predicting within now and 10 years that will be the case. The last one is food. The food industry, already mentioned a lot in the previous presentation. This is also the technology around food. We love to eat meat. We can also eat meat that is made from the lab. Real meat that is made from the lab. That is also one of the technologies that will disrupt the future. So in 20 years time, we probably don't have a lot of cows anymore, or at least we have nice cows to look at, but not to eat. So my specific area, of course, is the solar park. So they are saying we are just at the beginning of a complete transition of the whole energy sector from where we are today to a world where we have solar, wind, and batteries. And the interesting thing is, this is not only because of sustainability or because we want to change the world in a better world, all that kind of things. No, it's probably the real reason is, the why question is, it's just cheaper. At the end, solar, wind, batteries will be cheaper for everyone than what we have today. And that will drive a huge change in the coming 10 years. And this picture you cannot probably see really well. But these are all the prices of energy over the last 10 years, so 2009, 2019. This is solar. It went from the most expensive 10 years ago to now the cheapest in 10 years time. So you can imagine if that continues where we are. The same happened with wind energy, the same happened with batteries. This is a picture also from that Rethink X. This is the price per kilowatt hour. So if you look to solar, the last 10 years it was already 82 times cheaper, and they predicted 72% more cheaper in 10 years from now. If you look to batteries, it's even bigger. So if you buy $1,000 in solar products 10 years ago, it would be now $50. No, sorry, in 10 years it will be $50. So it's a factor 20 times cheaper. Batteries will be 45 times cheaper than 10 years ago in 10 years time. So you can imagine what happened. If you look to other areas that had this kind of disruption in the past, it really went so quick. If you go to the Tony Seba YouTube movies, he always starts with a picture of New York in 1903, and you see the street full of horses and cars. And he's saying within 10 years time, that picture, New York City, you see only cars. So within 10 years time, the whole transport industry changed. In 10 years time, the beginning of that century. But also now, if you look to mobile phones, the new phones, it goes so fast. Back to the Tesla, the first Tesla Model S was 10 years ago, only 10 years ago. Now you see them everywhere. So you can imagine what will happen with these cars. New Zealand. So what is happening in New Zealand? Well, it's a very interesting one. This is a picture of, probably you know where it is Half Moon Bay, and we placed these panels there on the roof. They have a nice solar system. But I was thinking, how big is solar already in New Zealand compared with, for example, the Netherlands? So I thought, let's go to the area where I live in the Netherlands. It's probably difficult to see, but this is in Eindhoven, where I'm born. I was born here, in this house. No, this one. Yeah. But you see here in the Netherlands, solar is pretty big. This picture is already telling a big story. If you see that probably more of half of the houses already have solar.
And which year is this?
This now, this is just Google Maps.
Oh, wow.
Just this picture was, I think, taken in this year.
Yeah, very recent.
Okay. Who has solar on their roof here in the room? Okay, this is already saying enough. It's a big difference. So, if you look to this picture, this graph, in Australia, our neighbors, they have the most solar per capita in the country. One of the reasons is they have a lot of sun, but probably the biggest reason there's a big subsidy from the government that really accelerated the solar implementation. The Netherlands here, New Zealand, almost nothing. If you compare, in Australia, 30% of rooftops have solar. In New Zealand, it's less than 2%. So for me, that was a good reason to start with solar, because this is the future. So there's a lot to do with New Zealand. But why is that? Why is New Zealand so way behind? Probably New Zealand is way behind with a lot of things, so maybe that is the reason. The other reason is we have a lot of sustainable energy, that's already mentioned. This 40% is all the energy. If you look only to electricity, it's around 80+%. If you look to all the energy that we have that we use in New Zealand, 40% is sustainable. It's a big number. We have number 3 in the world, and that's mainly because we have these hydro dams everywhere in the country. And of course, we also have in the Taupo area we have the geothermal energy. So all good. However, if you look what's happening, this is the hydro energy over the last years, and you see less rain, so less hydro energy, which is a big issue in New Zealand because a lot of electricity is coming from there, and we cannot quickly build a new dam somewhere. We've been in Manapuri, South Island, you hear all the stories on what happened there with the environment when they built the dam and all the protests and blah blah blah. Do we want that? I don't know. The other thing which is happening in the coming years, this is just a picture of all the EV cars that are sold over the last years till now. We had an, 74% increase over the last year in EV cars. So a lot of energy we need additionally to what we already use. this 20%. So they calculated if all normal cars are converted to EVs, then we need a 20% additional electricity. So what is the future? Build a lot of solar farms. This is a picture of at this moment, only solar farm in New Zealand. It's in Taranaki. It's not a big one, but it is one. However, last week in the news, there was some news on a couple of US and New Zealand investors. They want to build a 1 gigawatt solar farm, a huge one. I think it's part of the future. Is it the future? Maybe not. I'm not sure if this is really the future. Do we still want to be dependent on these companies that are delivering the electricity? Or do we just want to do it ourselves? I think this will be the future. Everyone just has their own solar system. Imagining you have your own solar system on your house, you have your EV car, you can charge your car for free, you can do everything for free. You go to the supermarket, they have their own chargers, you can charge your car at the supermarket. So everyone has these chargers, and probably it will all be free in 10 years' time. So is that doable in New Zealand? I did a quick calculation. If you do it yourself, maybe you come to other numbers, but I just tried. Let's say we have a lot of roof space in New Zealand. We have 1.8 million houses, normal houses. Let's say an average home is 160 square meters, and we can put solar panels on 25% of them. It's maybe a little bit high number, but okay, let's just take that. Which is mainly north, east, west facing roofs. So that's 72 million square meters. With that you can, at the end, have a yearly solar production of 20,000 gigawatt hours per year from only solar on roofs. We use at this moment 12,000. So if we put solar on all roofs, we have enough electricity for everything. Remembering the 20% EV cars, if we add that 20% to the 12,000, we still have enough. So, pretty good future. Last but not least, let's go back to this house. So, how is that working? So, example, we have a household, we use 40 kilowatt hour per day, which is that number per year. And let's say at this moment we want to reduce the electricity bill by 80%. So that we want to have a solar system that generates 11,440 kilowatt hours per year. A lot of numbers, but the good thing is at this moment we also have batteries, because 10 years ago we had solar energy, but then it was during the day while you need your electricity during the evening. So we add a battery to it. So at the end we come up with an 8.8 kilowatt solar system, a little bit like this. So we have 22 panels on the roof. I just heard that there are 20 panels on the roofs of these ones, so you can imagine it's working all right. Well, we place an inverter with 2 batteries to it, and this, after installation, will provide a lot of energy for you. So this will provide 80%. Of course, it's dependent on when you use your solar, when you use your electricity, during the evening, during the day. If we install these kind of systems, we still have a lot of tips for the people on, hey, if you do your washing machine, do it during the day, your dishwasher during the day, do all these things when the sun is shining, because these batteries can be empty. So, how is that working? Last slide, very quick. So you have your solar system on your roof, you have your inverter and batteries somewhere in your garage or in your laundry, and from there you just power all your load, your whole house. It's all fully automated, so you don't have to do anything. It will automatically switch to what is needed. So if the sun is shining, you use that electricity. If you have a lot of electricity, you heard that they have a lot of excess power here, which is logical because this area is not used a lot. That electricity goes to the grid. In this case, you have a lot of electricity, you charge your battery. The battery is full, then you deliver it back to the grid, and you can sell it for a little bit. If the sun is not shining anymore, you use your battery. If the battery is empty, you can still use the grid. So if you have that 80% system, you still have approximately 20% that you still need from the grid to power your house. Of course, you can go bigger. You can add more batteries to 100%. There are more and more people that want to go off grid. We say if you are really off grid, we can help. If you want to go off grid, just first place the system and see how it works. Because at this moment, if you want to go off grid, you probably don't want to charge your EV car. You don't want to have an induction cooking or even your hot water powered by electricity. So there are some concerns, but that will also change. So within now and a couple of years, everything is getting better and better and better. Do you want to wait till you implement solar? Because I showed you all these pictures of decreasing prices. Probably not. It's already the cheapest. So why should you wait? Thank you.
What's the payback on it?